Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media, in case you didn't know. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and this is that boom bap breakfast you've been waiting for. And why wait anymore when you have hosts with the most coming straight from the East Coast? Straight out of DC, you got Jackie Lukman. And straight out of Maryland, you got Burn It Down Kim Brown.
Some bitch.
Hey. I remember it.
Thank you. Maryland appreciates it. And Washington appreciates it too. They're like, Kim is a Maryland Bama. Do not put her with us. I said, no problem. Like facts. So the whole Maryland Bama thing is a thing, though. You know what I'm saying? You're Maryland Bama. You're not a DC. You're not a Washingtonian.
Why they do that, Jackie? Why y'all be hating on Maryland?
It's not hating. It's an ongoing. It is an ongoing feud instituted, implemented by the white people who won't let us be a state. And then then you got Maryland and Virginia fighting over. We don't want them. We don't want them.
Wow.
Because there are always the plans of, well, DC doesn't have to be its own state. It can be a part of Maryland. And Maryland is like, no.
So I never looked at it like that. So it's an insecurity comp.
No, it's
what?
DC is like feeling a certain way because they not a state like the other ones.
Well, they should.
I mean, we pay federal taxes and we ain't a state.
I see now. Okay,
and they trying to mess with a little bit of home rule that we have all the time.
I tell you who.
But no, it's not really a beef. We really don't have a beef with Maryland.
New York City in the building. Come out, King Franklin.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. New York, Brooklyn. Oh.
Everybody beef with New York. Everybody.
Thank you. That's what. Now with New York, we got beef with New York.
See, Jersey's looked at as the Bama to New York. So
that is correct. Yes,
it is, and it is.
That is accurate.
Whoa,
that's accurate.
But where you want to live at? You want to live in
New
Jersey
York?
And go to New York?
No, nobody wants to do. People from
everybody
Jersey
does that. What do you mean?
Well, they do that out of necessity because can't nobody afford to live.
Exactly. Unless you live in a project. Well,
that's what Vicky talked about. Went from BK to New Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying?
Talk that. You know what I'm saying? But
his mom just passed, B.
Yeah.
Oh no, Miss Folletta, are you serious?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
Last week. Yep.
Damn, last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't do a special tribute.
No, we didn't get around to that yet. I mean, what we gonna play?
He was big in the music.
Biggie's mom songs.
She might have some. She got bump, 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 bump.
Not like Pac. Pac made a song for his mom. Biggie did.
I'm scared. Biggie makes a song for his mom. Well, Pac's song maybe was a little scary for me. But I heard that, I was like, damn, you call her now? It's a crack fiend? It's like, god damn.
I mean,
real life.
She didn't hide it.
I know, but it still was heavy shit to hear. It's like, oh.
But I mean, I had mad respect for her because of, even at her worst, she produced Tupac.
I know. I mean, she had Afeni Shakur. I mean, she on her own, like even if she didn't produce Tupac on her own,
right?
She's like she's a formidable figure that people need to wrestle with in terms of our history. I just, but no, it was a great song. But when I first heard that lyric,
it's like, oh,
oh, crack fiend, mama.
Yeah. Was a black queen, mama. See, look at Kim's face. You see, even you had that face.
Gene Hackman died.
Wait a minute. Kim has an opinion on something. She's holding it in.
I don't. Because I was trying to think. I mean, there are numerous Biggie songs in which he references his mother, but I wouldn't say that they were
tributes.
Tribute worthy, correct? Yes, I wouldn't say they're included in the tribute.
And his very songs when he talks about what he's going to do to somebody else's mama.
Oh yeah, it's just a lot of.
We didn't have to. That was a door we didn't need to open.
Didn't want to show me the safe. It's okay. She was old anyway.
Oh my God.
Honestly, a door we didn't have to open.
Really? You know what I'm saying? Shooting kids and they calf muscles.
Oh,
boy,
man.
I tell you.
Calf muscle, fucking tussle, nickel plated.
Oh my God.
Hey, what's your
I'm
favorite?
sorry, mamas watching. I'm sorry.
What's your favorite G. Hackman movie? He just died too.
Oh, what is the one French Connection?
Oh wow.
I know. I don't know nothing about that.
No,
Gary Hackman was around for a long time. As a young person, he was in a lot of movies that I watched.
Yeah.
French Connection was an action thriller. You know, it was propaganda, of course, but you know, it was an exciting car chase movie, and you know, like first sort of an anti-hero kind of thing. So yeah, he was a well-known actor.
Mm-hmm.
I like them Lex Luger and Superman.
Who? Lex who?
Lex Luthor in
the original, in the first,
Superman. Yeah.
in the original Superman.
Best Supermans.
Yeah.
Enemy in the State was good too.
Charles Reeves could walk. Was it Charles? What's his name? Chris Reeves, when he could walk.
Christopher Reeves. He was doing way more than walking. Christopher Reeves might be one of the finest white men to ever walk or roll on the planet, for that matter. Walk or roll.
I'm like Jack. I'm like, really?
I'm trying to remember what he looked.
Oh,
let me help
you out. Let me describe.
Oh, go ahead. You describe.
6'5", okay, with jet black hair, ice blue eyes, with a dimpled chin.
Not my kind of thing.
Oh, gorgeous.
If I shave this off, I have a dimple chin.
Butt chin.
Squid.
Fair jaw, chiseled face.
Mr. Buttinsky. I have
a butt chin.
Not talking to me.
Got that BBL chin.
Oh no.
Leave me alone. That's enough. No mas. No mas. No mas.
I'm in the corner. Just taking blows.
My bad.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It looks good to see everybody today. Me and Kamal was up here, boy. We was trying to handle it this weekend. You know? Yeah, it ain't the same without y'all ladies. I must say.
You know what I'm saying.
So thank you very much.
Have things to do sometimes.
Y'all did a great job, though. Look at how y'all improvised. Look at the ingenuity of the bruvs coming through.
Yeah, we had X-Man stop by again.
Shout out to X Freeman. Thank you so much, X Freeman.
X Freeman, yeah. So, you know. All right. Well, we yapped. I guess we could go ahead and take a quick break and go ahead and get in some news and all that thing. All right, so let's do it right here on no other than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Look at the sky. It's the color of love. Look at the sky. It's the color of love.
What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Thank you all for tuning in. We got over 200 people watching right now, so go ahead and hit that live button. Did I say live? Like button. And also, you can subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that is rare. Speaking of footage that's rare over on Patreon, what you can do while you're donating at blkliberationmedia.org, guess who just dropped a new mix for Patreon members only? That's right. I dropped a new mix called Movement. Ear Doctor Mix. So go check it out straight for our Patreon members. It's going to have y'all moving a little bit, something like this right here. So go check that out. All right. That said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew and do what you do by becoming a Patreon member so you can check this out. All right. That said, let's get back.
Wait, is that something else I'm supposed to put up that I haven't yet, or you put it up already?
I just sent it to you last night around 12.
Okay, I got three. I got Jackie, I got yours.
Damn, you ain't put that one up yet?
I'm so sorry. I was in Disney World last week, man. I was
mentally or actually?
No, physically.
We have
with
to.
the kids.
We have to.
With the kids. So I apologize. So first I apologize to y'all, but I apologize to the audience for missing out. So that'll go up today. Today.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
My bad.
It's a nice little mix of different things there. Just keep y'all movement going.
I don't like the house stuff though. Why you doing the house? I don't want that. I may not put that up.
Why?
House music. I don't know house music.
What? Come on. See, this is that East
some
Coast
boom
vibe
bap.
that I be
That's why your house is dirty. You need to go and play this music and go clean your house up. This is house music.
Clean, son. You haven't seen my house. But
yeah, you're right. We just seen that dusty ass.
Beautiful. It is dusty though. It is dusty. Yes, dude, that part is true. That part is true.
You just out here calling a man house dirty.
I know. He ain't even been in my house.
Hey, he shit on my mix. You know what I mean? I had to fire back. Pew, 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 pew.
Put that little ass gun down.
Literally a pew pew.
That's what it is. I catch y'all the next break. Peace.
Peace. Okay.
So Disney World last week, huh?
Ooh,
yeah, at the winter break, right after they had a Christmas break, right after they had a week off because of the so-called snow in Atlanta. So it's like we got to do something to get these kids out the house. So we did Disney. I talked to and again, Disney does it well. They do it so goddamn well. That's why I hate them so much. It's like they know how to have a theme park, you know. But there's this roller coaster that just killed. I can't do the roller coaster no more. I'm too old. But my son, he loves it because he looks at me and he's just he's laughing. It makes it even more fun.
Laughing at your terror.
Yes. And they played September, like Earth, Wind and Fire September right now. Yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire. And so now at home he'll play it to sort of make me remember the terror that I
to trigger you in life.
He finds it to be like, he wrote a whole poem, like a whole note about my near-death experience. I was like, you're getting a lot.
You know, I appreciate Caleb's creativity. I like he sees upon his father's terror. And it brings him joy, no less.
Yes.
Brings him entertainment. That's wonderful. Did your daughter enjoy Disney World, or is she like, I'm too old for this?
No, she enjoyed it also, but she's also of the, preteen age and whatever. So she's a little now, she's like a little standoffish at times, but still she enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, good. I mean,
beautiful. Let's step into the news. Let's go. Yeah, I knew Ear Doctor had his finger hovering over the button, just waiting to pull the trigger. That's all good. Welcome everybody to the Remix Morning Show. Thursday, February 27th. We are almost out of Black History Month, but that's okay. It is Black History every month, every single day. We will not be relegated to simply 1 month of the year, but regardless, it's almost the end of February. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We got Jacqueline Lukman, Kamal Franklin, Kim Brown, the Doctor, the Remixers. Appreciate you guys joining us. Shout out to everyone that did the call-in show participation and everyone that stayed around and watched the call-in show. That was great. We appreciate y'all participating and pitching in. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when we down a couple of folks, we appreciate some folks coming in out of the bleachers, as it was. So y'all did a good thing there.
When was the call-in show? The one we did or when y'all did last week?
Y'all, well, both. But
okay, my bad.
About you and Ear Doctor's call.
Oh yes, thank you. No, well, actually, don't cop. They were terrible. Only one person came on.
Oh, whoops!
Everybody else refused to come on.
Really?
Yeah, people like Elon claiming they got their government job. They can't.
Sir.
And then what's her name?
Leave.
And then that's what y'all do. Y'all all jump up for each other and defend each other.
You know what?
It's like y'all agents for that kid, like y'all managers for people. I'm like,
you know what? Stay right there. Stay right there.
You coming to Atlanta? Yeah. No. Oh my God! No.
Are you calling? What are we doing here, Kamal? What are you doing?
That was a short trip.
So I thank everybody, that one person who came on.
X Freeman, yeah, shout out to X Freeman. And everybody else, maybe they were just feeling shy, maybe they were in transit, maybe they weren't quite awake. So we'll give our folks a little bit of latitude.
They should give money instead.
Anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, it's news time. Who has news that they would like to start out with?
I got a good funny one to start off with. Can I start off with your man? It's funny. It's funny, not funny. It's funny, not funny.
Of course.
This what I think it is. Come on.
You know, it's gotta be the mayor of New York City.
It's
Lord.
No, the mayor of New York City,
Mr. Black Cop,
compared himself to Jesus, your Jesus. He compared himself to. And then, as the mayor, started calling Black people Negroes. Let's take a listen.
Hold on.
So, this is a biblical moment.
Oh, nigga.
You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Who, Jesus?
All these Negroes were asking me to step down. God, forgive them.
Who are them coons cooning?
That's what I want to know.
Are you stupid? So
Jesus Christ.
That's your man's. Listen to Eric Adams. Yo, the way he let them white people talk to him on Fox News, nigga, you better not come in front of Black people and say shit about what Negroes had to sue. Come on, you saw that shit with the cracker told
Yes.
Yo,
I'm gonna come to your office and I'm gonna
put it up your butt.
Yeah.
Crazy. Something real crazy.
Said I'll be up your ass kind of thing. It's like,
yes.
He sat there and
and chuckled and laughed along with it.
Exactly.
And jive and listen to all this smoke he got for Negroes of New York City, as though the whites themselves weren't also clamoring for Eric Adams to step his corrupt ass down out of office. The audacity. Brooklyn, for shame. How dare y'all continue to produce Negroes like this?
Is he from Brooklyn originally? Anyway,
chime in, New York City. How Brooklyn producing the likes of Kamau and Eric Adams? What the hell? what a upside down.
And he's loving it. I mean, he's the type of dude who apparently so nothing phases him as he's embarrassed by it. If this feels like he just can't be embarrassed. He's out there, out front and center with all the corruption charges, with all the information about how he's basically sitting at Trump's knee, with the video, like you said, of him sitting there as the dude is like right there next to him, telling him, I'm gonna be up in your ass if you don't do what we tell you to do, basically. And nothing shames him. Nothing. He's just like, I'm mayor. That's it. I'm mayor. Yep. And he's gonna go down so bad. I mean, it's like there's no way in hell he's gonna win the next election. So I guess he's just like he's getting his moments in or whatever. And then they're going to go, as folks probably know, so we're going to go from a corrupt mayor in one sense in terms of taking bribes to possibly another mayor who's basically a sex offender, because Cuomo is about to run for mayor in New York, and everybody is suggesting that he's going to be the next mayor if he runs. Which again, it speaks to the stupidity of the. Sorry about the voters, but that's your man. That's your man to replace one corrupt dude as the sex offender? It don't make no sense. The world makes no sense.
And it's too many people in New York. How many millions of people in New York are there? And that's the best y'all can come up with? Cuomo, Adams, that's Giuliani? Yo, come on.
That's like Harris.
Lord, but I really do want to know who those cackling ass hens were in the audience cheering that. I want to know. I need to go to their church. I need to show up. Who? Miss Helen, is this you? And play. Was this you? shouting at Mayor Adams, at Eric coon ass Adams, comparing himself to Jesus. You know you're going to hell for that, right, Miss Helen? You know that man, that was blasphemous. You know that, right? Oh my God.
We could probably deduce who some of them may have been if we go back to Eric Adams' press conference that he held when the federal charges were announced, and he surrounded himself with, I suppose, the New York City black clergy. And they themselves were heckled by some of the protesters that showed up. I said, okay, New York, I see you. But yeah, no, people need to, New York City needs to account for this. What is going on? And when is the election? Is it 2026? It's next year?
I thought it was maybe, it's got to be next year. It's got to be next year. But maybe it's this year. I'm not sure.
Mm.
It is very soon. It's either this year or next year. Maybe again in the chat might save us or whatever like that. Because they said Cuomo was close to announcing. And it's February, so I can see it being this year. But somebody in the chat clear that up for us or whatever. But it's happening really soon. Yep, somebody said it's in June. Yeah, it's in June. I thought it was
really. That's when the primary. Well, is it like? I'm sure it's like Maryland. Like if whoever wins the Democratic primary is the mayor, right?
Yeah, whoever wins the Democratic primary is the mayor. I'm not actually no, because again, you had Giuliani.
Oh, well,
and I think what's his name?
Curtis.
Independent.
Oh
no, Bloomberg. Was it Bloomberg?
He was independent, yes.
Yeah, so it's normally it is the case. Well, exactly. But normally it is the case that if you run a Democratic ticket, but there are outliers, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly if you get a white man like a Giuliani running against a black mayor, then the white racism comes out full blast, and it's like, so you can get that kind of thing. Like when Dinkins was mayor, again, not the best mayor, but he was a Democrat. There's no reason why he should not have won. But they pulled out the race card and claimed that he allowed a riot to happen in Crown Heights, and then the cops came downtown City Hall
and rioted themselves.
And rioted.
And called him a garbage man and had all this stuff. And
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My mama was like, I should.
And that was the last.
Like, I should go to New York and kick their ass. Like, Ma, this is not our fight. This is not. Leave that black man alone.
And Dinkins was the last black mayor for basically 20 years until Adams, right?
Oh, Eric Adams. Wow.
Because the liberal New York City, and again, I know the policies are basically the same, but liberal New York City, has decided that it could not have another black mayor or whatever. And Adams has probably made sure for another 30 years it's not going to be another black mayor on his own.
Then, after the apocalypse, another one can be.
Exactly.
What's up with the Mr. Guardian Angel? Doesn't he run on the Republican ticket?
Sliwa?
Curtis Sliwa?
Curtis!
Yes.
Somebody takes him. I mean, I shouldn't say that anymore, I guess. But in the past, he hasn't been taken seriously as a candidate. I don't know about the recent past, but I know when he was running before, when I was still in New York or making whatever, no one just really took him seriously. He's always this guardian, dude with the red cap on or whatever like that. So he never was taken that seriously. But these days, you never know. You never know.
Wow. Well, can we talk about? I don't know which one is. Let's do this one. Let's talk about some Trump stuff. I'm so sorry about that picture. I'm sorry. It's early in the morning, and I know y'all are eating breakfast and stuff, but big old picture of Trump's face. Sorry. Judge largely blocks Trump's executive orders ending federal support for DEI programs. Sorry, let me scroll up real fast. So you don't need to see that. A federal judge on Friday largely blocked sweeping executive orders from President Donald Trump that seek to end government support for programs promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let me save my editorializing for later. U.S. District Judge Adam Abelson in Baltimore granted a preliminary injunction blocking the administration from terminating or changing federal contracts they consider equity related. Abelson found that the orders likely carry constitutional violations, including against free speech rights. Trump signed an order his first day in office directing federal agencies to terminate all equity-related grants or contracts. He signed a follow-up order requiring federal contractors to certify that they don't promote DEI. The White House didn't immediately return a message seeking comment Friday evening. The plaintiffs, including the city of Baltimore and higher education groups, sued the Trump administration earlier this month, arguing the executive orders are unconstitutional and a blanket overreach of presidential authority. They also allege the directives have a chilling effect on free speech. What's happening is an overcorrection and pulling back on DEI statements. Attorney Alishadieh Getachew said during a nearly 3-hour hearing Wednesday. The Trump administration argued that the president was targeting only DEI programs that violate federal civil rights laws. Attorneys for the government said the administration should be able to align federal spending with the president's priorities. The government doesn't have the obligation to subsidize plaintiffs' exercise of speech, said Justice Department Attorney Pardis Gaibi. Geez, all these people with these un-American sounding names. I'm so very confused about these people with un-American sounding names being on the Trump payroll, but I digress. Abelson, who was nominated by Democratic President Joe Biden, agreed with the plaintiffs that the executive orders discouraged business organizations and public entities from openly supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the free speech part. The harm arises from the issuance of it as a public, vague, threatening executive order, he said during the hearing. Abelson's ruling does allow for the Attorney General to investigate and prepare a report on DEI practices in accordance with one of the orders, but it blocks enforcement. So you can read the rest. This part is really actually important. In his written opinion, Abelson found reason to believe that the orders are unconstitutionally vague, leaving federal contractors and grant recipients with no reasonable way to know what, if anything, they can do to bring their grants into compliance. Well, that's the whole point. They don't want you to bring anything into compliance. They just don't want to pay you. He described a hypothetical scenario where an elementary school received Department of Education funding for technology access and a teacher used a computer to teach about Jim Crow laws, or if a road construction grant covered the cost of filling potholes in a low-income neighborhood instead of a wealthy neighborhood, does that render it equity related? The judge asked. So, again, another loss, I guess, temporary, because this is a temporary injunction, and there's the link to the article for you in the chat. It is a temporary injunction while they adjudicate the claims, while they determine, what exactly is unconstitutional, and what parts are not. I thought it was funny that the judge said, you can write a report on what you think is going on with DEI, but you can't enforce shit. You have a good time writing your report, but that's it. So we'll see how the actual final ruling comes out, but it sounds like he's telegraphing that the executive order is going to be struck down, that particular executive order. So like I said, that he's going to lose some of these battles in court, and he knows that. But I think this moment is also really instructive because we're seeing how the rule of law doesn't exist, how these folks, they always use it as a weapon against us, but they don't give a damn about the law. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. All these decades, Constitution, I'm a constitutional, it's Constitution. They don't give a shit about the Constitution because all these executive orders are unconstitutional. Basically.
And Trump is basically ignoring the judge's rules, orders anyway at this particular stage. And they're having their own agencies hand down their kind of comply. I mean, I think the Board of Education, I don't know if this is the same one as the Board of Education one, but it wasn't an executive order, but the internal memo from the Board of Education, basically, well, not the Board of Education, I'm sorry, Department of
Department.
Education. I'm sorry, yeah. Basically did the same thing. Like basically everything was DEI. So under the Trump purview, of course, basically is Jim Crow Part 2, right? Now it's not going to be that explicit, but the pecking order is obviously you can't mention race, and you certainly can't mention race in any way that says something about white folks and oppression. And I think they even had one line I'll look for a little bit later in the memo, that you can't say that one race subject, you can't teach the lessons that talk about how one race subjugated another. So some of it is like almost this explicit in terms of threatening federal funding. And again, a lot of the reaction is whether the courts give the injunctions or not, it's the scare tactic. And like you've had all these companies that have decided that they're going to be kind of taken away. That, like, I just read another article about how Bank of America, whatever they're worth, is ending their DEI practices. And so a lot of this is more the scare tactics that forces these companies, I shouldn't say forces, that gives them the opportunity and or window to end programs they never wanted to run anyway. And I think you're right, because even the Democratic, like going back to the Democratic response, will not be a full-throated defense of DEI, whatever limited value DEI ever had. Just like they didn't have a full-throated defense for affirmative action. They do exactly as was stated by one of the lawyers. They'll say, well, this is an overcorrection to some abuses, blah, blah, blah. That is the Democratic talking point. And I think Pete Buttigieg just got in trouble because he said something very similar around DEI in his defense of diversity and inclusion tactics. So, yeah.
So if the injunction is upheld, my guess is that the Trump administration is going to appeal this to the Supreme Court, where I'm sure Trump thinks that he has a very good chance of winning, since this same Supreme Court already struck down affirmative action for collegiate admission. So even though this may be an injunction, and I don't know how long is the temporary injunction. Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? What's the duration of the injunction? But I don't think he's going to see this as a loss. Like, this is just a temporary setback. Everything is still going to proceed according to plan. And basically, inside of each of these departmental agencies, I mean, really, who is there to stop the erasure of the DEI programs, amongst other things? Like, there is no, like, to Jackie's point, there is no checks and balances. There is no constitution. The constitutional crisis is only a crisis if you're dealing with somebody who gives a fuck about the Constitution, which Trump does not. Elon Musk also does not. So I don't know.
Yeah, and the Senate and the Republic and the House, they're obviously not going to take this up at all, right? Because they're both majority Republicans, so they're not going to do anything or say anything or pass anything. And I think it's going to wind up back in at some point at the Supreme Court, where again the Supreme Court gets to make another sweeping decision around the idea of race in America and how a so-called colorblind society, in which they'll quote Dr. King as a way of that'll be the only time they quote Dr. King is to say colorblind society,
right?
But it'll be a way of enforcing another edict that is very similar to the affirmative action ruling that they've already done, which will go even further, right? And it'll go even further, that says all race-based considerations will no longer be constitutional. And then again, I know some of these things target certain sectors of our community, but I do think they have a semi-important reach. What does that mean for historically Black colleges? I mean, right now, the United Negro College Fund basically lost its federal funding. That happened last week. I think it was about $7 million because they're claiming DEI. Part of the Department of Education's edict was that all so-called race-based scholarships be terminated, or you'll lose federal funding. And then right away, these colleges started stopping any scholarship that sort of spoke about disadvantaged people or anything that had to do with race. So I think this will be part of a further, again, even with the order to stop. This is more about the pressure tactics and no one to stop Trump from enacting what it is that he wants to enact.
Well, while I think like the race-based stuff is very important and definitely going to have an impact on our community across communities, the denial of disability inclusion and making spaces accessible for those with disabilities, that's going to be felt pretty immediately. Especially in the Department of Education, where the federal government is the backer of making sure that students who have disabilities, that all the curriculum is inclusive for them, or they have the ability to have, you know, separate instruction or accommodating instruction. Like that's going to be felt immediately. And I know all them Trump white folks whose kids got IEPs, you know, for their ADHD and for their oppositional defiance disorder and all, every fucking thing. They're going to be, well, we are going to feel that obviously, but we're expecting to feel it. They are not expecting to feel that all of a sudden their children's special education program is about to be snatched away from them. They're not ready for that.
And well, you know what? If you voted for that man because he was going to take things from the blacks, then well, you get what you're going to get. I don't, and honestly, if people are not looking at this moment and understanding that everything we told you about the system being illegitimate and these laws being bullshit and this place not being a democracy, I don't know how people don't see that now. Because if there were so-called checks and balances, how come, like I have been saying, if there were so-called checks and balances, and I understand, yes, he fired the top folks, but there were plenty of other people in these agencies, and yes, people are afraid and all of that kind of stuff, but nobody, like the resistance within these agencies has been underwhelming. The resistance in the private sector, not only underwhelming, but I mean, people are shocked at how easily and how quickly entities that were not targeted by these executive orders just rolled over. And it's like, how do you not see the way nobody in this society, none of the institutions that you, not especially not the Democrats, how do you not see that they're not fighting this? They're going along with it. So they never gave a damn about you. That this place cannot be a democracy because this kind of stuff doesn't happen in democracies. So when y'all gonna be anti-imperialists?
Still waiting for that one. We're still waiting for that one. Okay, I got.
But I want to go to Trump Gaza. How can I can't be?
I was going to go to that. I got that lined up. You want to go to that?
Yes, let's go to Trump Gaza. I almost barfed when I saw this. I said, "What?"
No, but the thing, and so if folks don't, I mean, I'm sure people have seen this. So this is an AI video that Trump, of course, Trump's team did not, as far as we know, the origins of it, I think, are still being debated. But Trump somehow saw it, or somebody put it in front of Trump's face, or it was sent to him. And this jackass basically decided it was a fair representation of what he was calling for. And he decided on his own social media platform, Truth Social, I guess it's called, to retweet it or resend it out. And so this video, which probably didn't get much play, most people didn't know about it except within a certain circle of right-wing lunatics, has now gone mainstream because the president of the United States had decided that he liked this video as a depiction of what he's been calling for. And so for those who haven't seen it, like, brace yourselves for the craziness or whatever.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright.
A song? They created a song?
The deal is done. Trump Gaza number one. Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. He's the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one.
So
Yikes.
yeah. And so you saw depictions of, again, these are AI images of Elon Musk, and this is the capitalist dream, right? The gold statue is like a Vegas everywhere, and they're making money. He's standing there with some again AI, but the depiction of him standing there with some young girl, and then the other depiction of, I don't know if people caught this, of the bearded women,
Yeah.
supposedly Arab women or whatever.
Mhm.
So all of these sort of sick colonial imperialist white supremacist imageries, and then having him and Netanyahu, any sane person could have saw that and just kept it moving. But this idiot, again, the president of a country, the United States, like the most powerful nation in the world, where he's been calling for the takeover of Gaza, saw this and decided to send it to his followers, or decided to retweet it publicly and basically endorse it as an image of what he's been talking about. So why, in my humble opinion, why the Muslim community, the Muslim community is up in arms. So why particular nation states in the Middle East continue to cower and having a clear understanding of who this person is, what his policies are. Again, you can't even hide behind the shield of like the Democrats and their double talk. This person is clearly stating for the world that he wants to take over Gaza, expel Palestinians, and give the rest of this land to so-called Israel. And the fact that Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia still feel the need to placate at least the leadership of the country speaks to the dismal sort of leadership that some of these countries have. And obviously a lot of these are sort of themselves dictatorships, of course. All of them are dictatorships in one form or another. But the fact that these folks can take any pride in their heritage, their people, and still sort of try to deal with Donald Trump as a human being. And it seems like all these leaders feel like they have to flatter this dude who in order that they're going to win some favor. Like they had the French president there recently flattering this dude in public. And it's like, at this stage, I'm like, there should be so many nations signing up as part of the Axis of Resistance at this stage. It's like,
I also saw a story, not just the Arab leaders placating Trump around the issue of Gaza and the displaced Palestinians, but even when it comes to the deportation of undocumented migrants from the U.S., Trump has kind of been quiet about Panama lately. Come to find out, Panama has been taking undocumented migrants, especially those coming from countries where the U.S. does not have normalized diplomatic relations, like Iran, right? So Panama is actually detaining undocumented migrants against their will. In a way, they're holding them in a hotel. I think I'm gonna see if I can find the package from I think it was Al Jazeera had the story, but they're holding hundreds of people, dozens of people in this hotel in Panama City under guard. The people can't leave. they're very much in limbo. Come to find out, Costa Rica is also now taking undocumented migrants, people who are not themselves Costa Ricans. So I'm kind of like, is no one resisting? No other country, no other leader, no one is going. I mean, except for Claudia Scheinbaum, you know what I'm saying? She popping off, but everybody else is like falling in line.
And this is this is what we anti-imperialist organizers have been telling people for years, for decades. This global right-wing coalition is solidifying. And they have been, so, the stuff that Trump has been saying that sounded crazy. And we've talked about this, like, invading Greenland, retaking the Panama Canal. Then, he said crazy stuff about Guantanamo Bay. And now look at what. And the thing is, I don't think people know that there have been these kind of relationships with these countries all along. Trump he's just he really is just the boorish representation. He is everybody's drunk uncle that everybody is embarrassed about. They're just like, he's a part of the family. He makes a lot of money for the family, but then he puts his foot in his mouth, or he does some horrible thing to somebody, and then he fucks it up. So he's a part of the family. You can't get rid, the political family. You can't get rid of him. But he's very embarrassing. That's all this is. This is everything that is happening. We told you that this was going to happen, that this was coming. This is not these things aren't being done because Trump is, he is the harbinger of all of these things. No, this is the relationship this country has had with these other countries forever. The U.S. has made other countries their vassals. Panama, Costa Rica, they've always been. The U.S. government has always bullied those countries. So Trump is now just like, well, I'm just gonna play up the existing relationships with what I want to do, which is terrible, but it's not much worse than what was already being done. And this is we are I think we are, yes, what Trump is doing, the way it's being done, the chaos of it, the hatefulness, the blatant, just blatant racism and xenophobia and transfer. Yes, that's awful. That is awful. It is horrible. What he's doing with the government, horrible. Absolutely horrible. But I really keep asking people to please step back and ask yourself, if he's been able to do this much, what was there for you in the first place? Because if there really were a whole lot of people in this society who cared about other folks, there'd be a lot more resistance than what's going on. Then that's one part of it. But the other part of it is, wait a minute, why is it that these countries are just taking what Trump is doing? Well, because they've been bullied by the United States government. Look at Cuba. Guantanamo is an illegally occupied piece of land in Cuba that the United States government continues to illegally occupy. And to keep Cuba from resisting anything that the U.S. wants to do in Guantanamo Bay, with Guantanamo Bay, the U.S. keeps this fucking blockade up against Cuba to keep them weak so they can never fight to get that piece of land back. Aside from, wanting to destroy socialism. So this is a terrible mess, but I really want people to understand this has been a terrible mess. This has been the relationship the U.S. has had with the rest of the world the whole time.
I think the other interesting thing for me, like I've been listening to Steve Bannon in some interviews, right? So one of the right-wing architects or white nationalist architects. And again, this movement, this particular type of movement, bringing back the sort of overt white supremacy mixed in with a challenge to capitalism, as in not a challenge to stop capitalism, but a challenge to reindustrialize America for the benefit of white folks who they feel have been left behind because of neoliberal policies, right? And so this is also a remaking in some ways of the Republican Party, which again, I would say started really, after Obama was elected, but Trump became sort of a person, this movement that, Breitbart and all that, this sort of right-wing movement, they saw Trump as an imperfect vehicle in which to get their policies and their reshaping of government through. And this in the state, this is not just a U.S. movement. This is a worldwide movement of particularly European countries, and then these other sort of second-tier countries, which also may have right-wing governments, which again most of them have always been under the boot of U.S. imperialism, which is why some of the reactions are to placate, to negotiate, to turn over resources, and or to accept some monetary benefit in order to shut up and to take people again, in the most inhumane ways possible, is like putting people, chaining them on air cargo planes, not letting them use the bathroom, and basically like sending them over, now deporting people into black sites, right? Disappearance sites, deporting people to Guantanamo. So the ways in which this is happening, is supposed to be for the benefit of, again, of his white nationalist audience, to show what he's doing. But this whole idea of Trump, if it wasn't Trump, they were going to bid their time to get another vehicle, but Trump became the vehicle in which all of this sort of white nationalist, overt, again, white nationalist sentiment, with a reordering of the government through the downsizing. And basically, when they downsize the government, what happens is all of these corporations are lining up to fill in the gaps for what the government was doing or used to do. So basically, the privatization of certain things. And so when the government starts to fail and people start to notice, what they'll continue to do is to blame the government in the first place that they just dismantled, and then say, you know what needs to step in? Elon Musk needs to get a contract from the government to do this type of work. And SpaceX is a perfect example, right? So if you, this is, we can question even the need for all the adventurism in space, considering what we need at home. But when you look at like NASA and the sort of dismantling of the space shuttle program, and in its place is to allow Bezos and Musk to now be the cargo ships for lifting up satellites, and get paid all around the world to do that. That is part of sort of the neoliberal restructuring of government, which the Trump administration still supports in that way, as long as it's so-called homegrown U.S. Enterprises, and they think white people, at least supposedly, because within their own factions, they're having their own disputes. But the idea is that these white folks here will somehow benefit to it. And again, the pecking order of who gets to benefit from the largesse of the spending is really what they're about trying to seize.
Yeah, this whole situation with Trump and Musk dismantling the federal workforce and the federal government is really interesting. What you just said, Kamal, because I remember when the Department of Defense went on their whole privatization of a lot of their work. A lot of people do not know that a lot of the military specialties, a lot of the jobs that people used to go into the military and learn skills for, well, the military doesn't do a lot of those things anymore. They have outsourced a lot of that work to contractors. So we kind of saw that a little bit on a smaller scale, and I can't remember like the year that began, but I think it was around the time that there was that big scandal about defense spending, the first one, way back in the late 70s, I think early 80s, when it was a big deal about, oh my God, the Department of Defense paid thousands of dollars for one hammer, hundreds of dollars for a toilet seat, that type of thing, and they changed all of the federal contracting rules to supposedly address that kind of abuse, fraud, waste, and abuse. And then part of what the response to that was more government contractors were given contracts to do government work. So it's like this kind of slow privatization of the U.S. government that has been going on really kind of slowly under the radar almost for decades is really just being ramped up by Trump. But it is the him doing it in like one fell swoop is now that's wild. That it is crazy to see him attempt to do this, and again to see it just kind of be done. Just like I don't know. I'm still just kind of like, man, when are all of the people being fired? When they're gonna riot? When is the riot happening? When? Because I don't understand. This man has messed up the price of y'all eggs. He'd have messed up the price of gas. He's messed up DEI. He's blamed plane crashes on black pilots, on the existence of black pilots. I mean, and now he's gonna fire a bunch of mostly white federal employees. When are all of the people being affected by this the most directly right now, which is all of the white folks who voted him? When they gonna riot? We know they can riot because January 6th. So
they are in shell shock. I'm seeing different stories, local stories from around the country. One from coming out of Kentucky, for example, of these research grants that the NIH gave to University of Kentucky, and I can't remember what the other big institution of learning is, but these are tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of research grants being canceled. And now you have local Republican lawmakers going to the state house and going to their federal representatives and crying about this, because so many of these local rural municipality, red states in particular, are heavily dependent upon federal government grants, subsidies, etc. And I think that they are starting to feel. Did you guys see that they hung the U.S. flag, the American flag, upside down at Yosemite National Park? I said that was the Park Service people doing that. That wasn't the anarchists. That wasn't that. Like
the nicest, meekest, most
right. Park Service employees did that. So yeah, the whites should be rioting, but right now it's kind of these roving protests in front of different government agencies in DC. It hasn't culminated together to do something massive yet. But once those 80% of federal workers that live outside of the Washington region, once they decide to start putting boots to the ground, so to speak, then there'll be something. But I think they're still in a state of shock. They just can't believe this is happening to them.
Well, speaking of state of shock, let's bring up the ear doctor.
Bam, shocking. All right. Y'all bringing the dramas, bringing the news and all that.
Hank Shockley.
Hank
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, let me shock you again. Kamal, you was asking about seeing a picture of the pizza place.
This is spot. Oh, it's a real pizza spot.
Oh my God, is that?
Sir. That is me making a pizza in
what
back
is
when I
that
had
on
my
your
lock.
head?
That's my stocking cap on my locks. You know, we used to get the pantyhose stockings and twist it up at the top and throw our hair in it. Yeah.
See, look at that.
And is that a worker behind you? A worker?
Actually, it's a girl from a newspaper interviewing me while I was making pizzas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Look at this, a full ass kitchen.
Yeah,
It was like a commercial.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, come on, man. You see?
What a company band that though? Where you hide it at?
See, there y'all go with that shit.
I think in that red box. You saw that red box on the table.
That's what it
That's
was.
where the real cheese is, right?
That's where the drugs are.
I can't.
No wonder you got caught.
You done hopped on the Kamal train, Jackie. Boy, I tell you.
Never that.
All right, yo, let's take a quick break and we're going to come back with some more right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Remix on the remix. All right, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1985. We're talking about Prince. Around the World in a Day. Name of that song is Pop Life. Mixed with a little bit of 1989 off that Paul's Boutique. Talk about Beastie Boys. Name of that song is Hey Ladies. Yes, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. And make sure we get Kamal to post the new mix. Yes, that house mix that he don't like. Anyway, go there and become a member. And you can donate at blkliberationmedia.org. Yes, donate right there. All right, that said, let's go ahead and get back to the crew. You know how we do.
Hey, ladies, get
Funky.
Is that on the mix?
Nah.
Oh, well, no, fuck you, man. Man. Pop Life.
I listen to a lot of different music, man. Let me cook.
When are you gonna do the mixes of the mixes? That's what you should do.
The mixes is supposed to be out this month, but it'll be out the beginning of next.
Are you
month.
selling it? Is it for sale? Kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be for sale. You can get it on Bandcamp. Only $5. You know what I mean?
I'll give you $5 for that. Like, and it's gonna be all the mixes you've done on the commercial breaks.
It's gonna be a hip hop R&B mix.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is it going to be all the mixes you did on the commercial breaks, the ones that you did and we all liked so much?
Some of this, some of that. It's gonna be some of this and some of that.
I just explained. It's going to be a hip hop R&B mix. So yeah, it's going to be a mixture of those.
The way you do when you do the clash, like the
yes,
boom,
a mashup,
all that.
A mashup.
You want to include this one on there?
Nah, not that one, because that's more.
I want it though, but I want it.
That one was all right. I just put that together this morning, so I didn't really get to, get in my bag on it. Anyway,
whatever. Yeah.
I'm glad you recognize that though, because I wasn't gonna say nothing because
it was clunky. You saying
it was
a little bit.
It was a little bit.
I noticed that too, but it still was banging. Yeah.
So
and I don't like Beastie Boys, so that's just.
You're like Beastie Boys.
I have never liked Beastie Boys.
We never gave Beastie Boys any hassle for them being white. I mean,
no, it's not even because they're no. I just never. Never.
No
I go back and forth.
It just never did it for me. I
think they're overrated. They're definitely overrated, but I definitely like some of their songs.
I think that's it. I think when they came out, other than what was it, Third Base?
Third Base I used to like. Yeah,
and the Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, we ain't gonna mention him.
What's his name? Eminem. He wasn't around then, so Beastie Boys were.
They were like
an anomaly. They were like, oh, and the fact that they could. I mean, they're talented. Definitely talented, but. I don't know. I just that their vibe was different. And I think their vibe was that like college white boy frat.
It came from punk rock to hip hop. So
and it wasn't even punk. That's that was the messed up thing. It's like even punks were like, this ain't Wu-Tang. What the fuck?
But it's so like crazy because they were white boys, right? And they got all this credit for breaking through on hip hop. That's the part that always bothers me. Is like it's not so much the acknowledgement that they're good and that some of the music is good. It's the overselling by white America of a white artist that's doing hip hop, and then they became like the bam. You know what I mean?
But you also got to look at why Run DMC blew up like they did, because it was a mixture of rock and hip hop. So Beastie Boys followed the same pattern. They mixed rock and hip hop, and it went to a larger crowd. So they got more listeners. When they did Rock Box Run DMC, white people listened. When they did Walk This Way, white people listened. And when you get white people,
they went bad. And that's when Run DMC went bad. It was like that's when we stopped listening. It's like, well, that's enough of that.
I mean,
that ain't true.
It was at that point it was done.
No, it wasn't. It was actually just kind of getting started.
No, when they did the thing with
Aerosmith
Walk This Way, That was later in their career. They were done. Yeah, they were done by that point.
But when they came back, we were down with the King. We was like, okay, Run DMC.
Timelines is all off, man.
No, that is not their first. When they
It's Tricky came out after.
Yeah, it did. And we was rocking with It's Tricky.
Tricky was not one of their best songs either.
It's
Tricky.
Out your rabbit ass.
Tricky.
You rock all down, no rock all rock. That's right on time. It's Tricky. Tricky.
And what about Mary? Mary.
That was earlier. That was in one of the later ones.
It was.
I think y'all got the timeline. That is not after Walk This Way.
It was after Walk This Way. It was.
It is. School this.
I don't think that's true, man. All I know is that the early Run DMC was obviously our Run DMC, and once they started fucking with Aerosmith, it was like, what
started with Aerosmith? They did a song.
And they played it up like it was this huge celebration because rap and rock had done this collaboration, and all MTV and all the awards. It's like, oh my god, it was like played up as this big crossover shit, and by that time it was like. No one gave a fuck. We didn't give a fuck about. It was like that was not the song of the year for the Black community.
Because I think we was embracing more of hip hop being our culture with the soulful samples,
with the hard beats. It was the hard beats
and samples. Marley Marl brought in all soulful.
All that bullshit with the.
Anyway, big up to hip hop. I'm out of here.
I mean, a lot of that was driven by obviously the music industry and the Grammys.
Yeah, it's to make money. It's to get white folks to buy and make money. I mean, I get it, but it wasn't their best stuff.
I mean, and honestly, that wasn't the Run DMC Aerosmith collaboration was not the only rap hip hop rock collaboration. There was another one that didn't get any attention unless you were in that community, and you would never guess.
Blondie Rapture? Blondie's Rapture?
Oh no, fuck her.
It's so weird. In retrospect,
Brains.
I like that song more than I did when it first came out. When it first came out, I hated it. Now when it comes on the radio, Rapture, I'll turn it up a little bit. It's so crazy.
I just
when it first came out, I hated it.
I like the song. I hated that they were just like, oh, Blondie did the first rap. So shut the fuck.
I know they did.
No, she did.
And they were like, and she had the first #1 rap song. They credited her. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
They did.
No, but the other hip hop rock collaboration was Anthrax and Public Enemy.
But that was way after.
That was after.
I understand. I didn't say that it was in the same time frame. I said there was another collaboration that did not get any attention.
It got a video for it. They had a video for it at Public Enemy Anthrax Bring the Noise.
And the same chemistry was used for Onyx mixing hip hop and rap. That's why they blew up like they did. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop because I'm apparently speaking a different language where I think I'm saying one thing and people are hearing something else.
Onyx had one good song.
With Onyx Slam?
Yeah, that was it.
That was the mixture of that rock and hip hop. That was that
one.
Mob Pit.
I didn't even consider that rock. You consider that rock?
What was the rock?
Where's the rock part?
Where's the rock? What, are you making this up? Where is the rock?
You don't know what he's talking about.
You don't see the whole mosh pit type style Onyx had with that whole slam. You weren't doing that like that. That was more of a rock and roll thing. That mosh pit style.
Says someone who never came to a go-go. You tell me what happens when Junkyard Band drops Rough It Off in the middle of the go-go. I assure you, it gives mosh pit. It can. Well, it did.
No idea. I have no idea.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
Big up DMV go-go. Yeah.
There's a number of songs that the go-go bands could not play all the time. Why? Because niggas would start fighting. Why? Because they would be in there roughing it off. Way before predates moshing.
Okay,
that's what y'all call it, roughing it off. That was what it was called instead of
roughing it off. It was invented in the ghetto when niggas drink 40, smoke blunts, and get mellow. motherfucker hee haw.
In DC though, the DC area.
Yes, but
that
just
little,
because y'all didn't know it was happening, it wasn't happening.
Square blocks. It was like 4 square blocks in DC that shit was happening. You know what I'm saying?
So down south was Lil Jon, crunk music, Nuck If You Buck. They did the mosh pit in
years apart though. Yes, I don't disagree. Nuck If You is another one. They could not play it in the club.
You would be a fight.
Exactly. They would, yes.
It's a fight every time.
It's an instant fight.
Yeah,
and that's moshing, is it not? Isn't that nigga just pushing niggas around, pushing each other?
Yeah.
My man Umar School Fund donor said Run DMC was never ours. They were Rubin.
Run was Curtis Blow's DJ. They've been in hip hop way before they come on, stop. Run DMC is always gonna be ours. Top 5 in the 80s, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and
Is that like in reverse order?
Huh?
You said L already.
I said LL, Run DMC, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and I say Public Enemy.
80. What about my man Heavy D in the 80s?
What's this list? What are we listing? What are we ranking?
We ain't gonna go there. This does take too much time. I know there's more news. And yeah, we'll have to do this in a Patreon, like
we'll do it
when Kamal puts up the other ones.
Oops, ouch.
I don't worry, Kamal. I lie to my viewers too about what I'm about to do.
Yeah,
I lie about my deliverables all the time.
And KRS-One, my bad. KRS-One, Run DMC, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and LL.
But what's the list? What is this list?
The top MCs of the 80s, the top groups of the 80s.
I guess, man. I don't know. I can't have this debate right now. Not a woman on the list. I got you.
In the 80s? Okay. What you gonna put? MC Light? Come on.
You could put Light. You could put Salt and Pep. You could put some chicks on there.
You could.
Ouch. All right. So Remix Morning Show. How y'all doing? We're here with the great Jackie Lukeman.
Don't know how I'm doing.
Kamal Franklin.
About this list.
Name in the list, which we're thinking up off the top of our dome, whatever like that. So we got some more news. I do got one thing. Y'all got something anybody else want to pull up or no?
No, go ahead.
All right. So somebody asked us in the chat, and I think we've made some reference to who the majority of federal employees are. And of course they are white based on the population, but there is an overrepresentation, is what I often say, of Black folks who work for the federal government, because the private sector has been more overtly racist. And as this article will talk about briefly, there's been this sort of guardrails around employment in the federal sector. So as much of the Black middle class was built by federal jobs, and here it's saying that may change. And that's, of course, talking about some of the recent cuts and ongoing cuts. And it says the government, I'm just going to skip down a little bit, which has about 3 million employees. It's the largest employer in the country. At least 75,000 of them accepted their buyout offers, and thousands were fired in the last several weeks. Many of the workers were either newer hires or told they were let go for subpar performance. The federal workforce was a means to help build Black middle class and hire Black Americans at a higher rate than private employees, said Cheryl Smith, president of the American Federation of Government. As part of his efforts, Donald Trump is angling to shut down the Department of Education, a move that will have dramatic repercussions around the country. Nearly 30% of the education employees are Black, according to nearly 30% of education employees are Black, according to a 2024 report by the department. Smith says 74 workers at the department had been let go so far, 60 of whom were Black. At the Department of Health and Human Services, where more than 1,300 new hires were reportedly laid off, 20% of the staff was Black. And at the Department of Veteran Affairs, which recently lost 1,000 employees, 24% are Black. These numbers illustrate how important government jobs have been and are for Black people, said Marcus Casey, a fellow at the Economic Studies Program at Brookings Institute. He said the administration efforts are trying to undermine the gains of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which banned discrimination on the basis of race and other characteristics, and of affirmative action, which began the federal government to make the hiring and promoting process more inclusive. Whether it was from the post office, through direct growth of federal agencies, through the military, The government fought against the headwinds associated with the private sector, said Casey, an affiliated scholar. Many Black people could build careers through the federal government, typically because private sector overlooked them. Well, overlooked is another word for racism, regardless of their qualifications, he said. And so the federal government has been essential to building the Black middle class. A worker at the Department of Transportation in Washington, D.C., who requested anonymity for fear of being fired. You're going to be fired anyway, so you don't need no anonymity. Said workers in his office have been fired for poor performance. Morale is so low, he said, people should be there. People who should be there are gone. Everyone is nervous about the next shoe dropping. So I just skipped to this part. It says undoing DEI to cut the federal workforce. The president's sweeping changes began with ending DEI throughout the government, weaponizing as destructive ideology along the way. Countless jobs have been lost in the area that was created to develop fair hiring opportunities. And it says a lot of Black people not only benefited from what they call DEI now, but the original affirmative action programs and the veteran preferences, Casey said. The combination helped a lot of people get a foothold in civil service. So I guess, I'll leave it at that. And so again, the part of the issue is that, again, we have been overrepresented in the federal government because the private sector has historically and continuously does not hire Black people at the same rate at which we are of the country. So supposedly about 13% of the country is made up of Black people. And as you saw with some of these numbers, some of these federal agencies have hired upwards of like 24% or 30% of their workforce have included Black hirees. And so, again, that's one of the reasons why it's not the only reason, but again, it's another reason why the targeting of the federal workforce for the white constituents of Donald Trump, and that means the majority of the country, usually goes down a little easier because, again, similarly to talking about social service programs or so-called welfare benefits, when white folks see a higher percentage of Black folks, even when it is not the majority, because the majority of people who receive welfare benefits are not Black, again, but because the perception is that that either we are overrepresented or represent a larger amount, that then it becomes okay in their eyes, even if other white folks get fired. And that's what they're depending on for right now. This is being sold as like we're cutting DEI, we're targeting Black folks, even if in reality, and that reality has not set in yet, that even if you're cutting 30%, if you're cutting 30% of them are Black, that you're cutting, that still means like 70% of the workforce is white and or other. And so that's part of the issue, right? And this is not from a point of view of a revolutionary standpoint, but this is point of view of people who are living their day-to-day lives and having jobs to pay their bills, to take care of their kids, planning for retirement. All of that now is starting to get cut from under them. And people, I'm glad somebody said it like this. They said the Black bourgeois will suffer. And so my dispute with that analysis is that federal workers are not just, particularly at the civil service level, are not the Black bourgeois. They are working class Black people. There may be some Black bourgeois in there, but there are people who are making salaries that are 50, 60, 70, 80, and sometimes slightly higher than that. But that is the workforce that has helped working class Black people survive in this country, short of what you would think of would be a revolution or whatever like that. But for everyday people getting jobs, supporting their family, that's what they've been looking for and trying to keep. And that's also one of the times, this is one of these time periods where people feel like they are in danger, obviously, of losing all of that because of an over white nationalist force in the White House. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's when we live in a country where people still either don't know or don't care that most of the entitlement programs that they hate so much, like welfare, are actually accessed by more white people than Black people. I mean, if people still refuse to believe that and still believe that it's just the Blacks taking all the welfare, of course people believe that it's just Black people in the federal government and they're fine with this cuts across the board. It's like And you cannot reason with these people in this country. You cannot. There's no reasoning with these people. I think we're trying to I think we're trying to make sense of how people are responding to things that we were told could never happen here, right? And they're happening, and we're all people are trying to figure out how this could be happening, and we're just like, what do you mean? We live in a country where people delude themselves with racist lies all of the time. Everything people do and believe and see in this country, the way they understand things, it is all through this lens of racist bullshit. So there's no, more white people are going to be caught up in these, because if 20% of the Department of Education, the people who were fired from one agency were Black, that means that 80% of the rest of them are white. So yeah, they know now. They know that they're going to be harmed, hurt. They know that their shit's going to be fucked up too under Trump's thing, and they're fine with it. Because they still believe that Trump is getting rid of all of the other unqualified people. They all believe that what Trump is doing relates to somebody else, and them being caught up in it is some kind of mistake that they're going to be able to rectify because they supported Trump. They don't get yet that they are among the poors that Trump hates, that Trump and Elon, they don't get that yet. And every time in history when something like this has happened and the white working class has been confronted with the fact that this system hates them too, every time, a lot of those white working class folks, instead of looking at the situation and saying, you know what, the Blacks are right, this system is crap, we need to see what's going on with them. A few of those white working class folks will have that realization and come and organize with us, but most, they stay to the right, far away from us. So I don't know. I just kind of keep saying, when we do political education, of course, when people come in, I'm not going to be cussing people out and, what is wrong with you? And I do that here, right? Because this is a conversation among family. When we do political education, I have a lot more sympathy for people and their fear. Of course I do. Because I understand people are afraid. Shit, I'm kind of scared because none of us know what's really going to happen next. And we understand that this is a dangerous period. But I think that if we are really going to be serious about building something on the other side of this, because if we're not serious about confronting the system, what's going to happen is in the next election cycle, they're going to run Kamala Harris again. Or some equally shitty Democrat, which is all of them. And people are going to breathe a sigh of relief because they get to go back to normal. And they're going to vote for the Democrat. And the Democrat is not going to undo a lot of what Trump has done. And then we're going to be in this cycle over and over again. And we have got to break out of this cycle. We have got to stop believing that we can reason with these people to stop hurting people. No, the chaos and the terror and the pain is the point. Because they're stealing from you. They are stealing from you. And they know they're going to hurt you and they don't care.
So here in the DC area, because the seat of government is here, a lot of federal government employees are Black. And we know that across the country, Prince George's County and now Charles County, Maryland, are two of the places in which so-called Black wealth is concentrated, right? It has the highest percentage of either Black people, either who are homeowners, who have very high salaries, et cetera. And a lot of that is because of the federal government, either people's proximity, directly themselves having a federal job or them being some sort of government contractor that has approximate relationship to the federal government. And I am concerned, or at least maybe speculating, that so-called notoriety that Black people in the DC area do very well financially because of all of this mass layoffs at the federal government, that's probably about to switch and turn upside down in a way. I think we're going to see a lot of Black folks in this area that, you know, I do look at them as bourgeoisie. Some of them, at least. I know there are plenty of people that work for the federal government that are making $40,000 a year. I get that. And by the way, these federal government jobs are extremely competitive, right? Like, don't assume that because DEI initiatives or affirmative action initiatives were in place that Black people are just walking into these fucking jobs. Like, it's niggas with multiple degrees, and they had to know somebody on the inside. Okay,
it's hard to get a federal job. It is not easy to get a federal job.
Right. So I have empathy for these folks that are now finding themselves in an instant, you know, switch of a reversal of fortunes, though I think many of them will likely find some sort of placement in the private sector somewhere. I feel like in this area, some of these government job losses are going to be absorbed in other places, but there's going to be some pain here. And in PG County specifically, during the housing crisis of 0809, I even say the housing crisis started in fucking 06, but whatever. Prince George's County homeowners experienced the highest rate of foreclosures in, I think, the state, right? And that did tremendous damage to the county in a variety of ways. And we're probably going to see some sort of variation of that come back into play if people are not able to recover and recoup some of these jobs. So I think it's going to disproportionately harm Black folks in the DC area in particular, and places where Black people are employed by I think the CDC in Atlanta employs a lot of Black folks, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so Black people, yeah, in our chocolate havens, this is absolutely going to be felt disproportionately and borne disproportionately by Black folks.
Well, two quick things, and I think part of the problem, or part of the reason why some people don't have as much sympathy for the Black middle class that has worked their way up is because they act like they are now separated from the poor Blacks, right? That's where I was going to go. The attitude becomes, we've made it, why haven't you? Mm-hmm. When it's like, well, wait a minute, 8 years ago, you weren't there, but it's not a feeling of like, we're still in solidarity. Then it becomes a feeling of like, now we're exclusively in this club and we're taken care of, and you got to worry about yourself. So I think that's one of the rubs that, of course, is one of the class dynamics in our community. But it's one of those things where it's a simple separation of a job. I mean, you got a job, which now is under threat. Two, again, on the point that you were making, so Trump has already spoken about targeting DC in terms of federal workers and saying that they're going to move some of the agencies outside of DC. Mm-hmm. And you know what that means? He's going to move some of these agencies to white areas, mm-hmm. to hire white people, to make them think again that they're getting something, right? They're going to get a little bit. They're going to be on that totem pole. They're not going to be up there with the rich whites, but they're going to have a job. They're going to have a pension, maybe. They're going to have a salary, and they're going to feel like enough of them is taken care of, but they're going to be like, see, Donald Trump was right? And it's our community, all those folks who separated themselves, who are going to be coming back down. We waving at like, hey, here we go. So I think that's also part of the dilemma, is that this is going to be this falling out of what happens. And again, it's part of. I still think we're not equipped to do it, but part of the role of the left is not only to point this stuff out, but is to get people to fight and find alternatives. It's not going to be fucking jobs for people, but it is going to be ways in which we provide mutual aid and take care of each other and figure out how to support each other during some of this time period, how to politicize people, as Jackie is bringing up, like, the solution is not going to just be another Democrat. Because when those Democrats get back in office, if they win, because, again, Trump some of this is going to fail. And when it does hurt white people, as when we had the Great Recession under Bush, they were compelled, they were like, well, goddamn, we got to give a nigga a chance, right? Again, not in majority numbers, because the majority of white folks still voted for John McCain, but enough were peeled off to be like, something's got to happen. And that may happen again with Trump if the economy begins to fall down. And again, black folks will probably be now the ones who spin off the Trump will now be like in this area of this thought pattern of like, oh, we're going to vote for these Democrats because we just want to return to normal. And then once the Democrats get back in power, they're not going to do much. They're going to keep in place most of the Trump policies and shifts that had happened. They're going to tell us to get used to the new reality of no affirmative action, because it went too far anyway. And they're not going to put a Kamala Harris up there again for even the placating. There's going to be, in my opinion, the target is going to be some white man, some old white man that they
medium-aged white man, middle-aged
white man that they think is going to peel away the white Trump voters, and that's going to be their new thing. And again, they're going to tell us to shut up and get in the back of the car and let them drive, because this is the best car you got. Because again, we refuse to build our own, right? That's my quick thought about it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the DC is a weird place when you, because there are so many things to point to that expose this class contradiction among Black folks, right? It's like we're all fighting to keep what little bit of home rule we have, but at the same time, it's like the Black people on the city council have sold out the Black people in this city a lot. And then on things where we have wanted to, work with citizens in Maryland and Virginia, like on the budget for Metro, something that simple that we all use, that we all need. It was always, the white conservative politicians and the bougie Black folks in PG County. Oh no, we don't want to pay for more bus service out here because we don't want the poors coming into our neighborhood. And this is these are the folks who voted to have the FBI build their headquarters in PG County because jobs. So it's a very interesting. It's very interesting as an organizer who does political education to know and to be sensitive to people's anxiety at the moment and people's fear, and when to bring that class element into the conversation. Like, okay, this is terrible. This is horrible what's happening. It's awful. And this is what we can do to help. But did you know that you were kind of, it's been kind of hard for poor folks to really get a foothold in anything because you kind of didn't help. And it's like, when do you have that conversation with people who are being targeted by the current whatever? Because you have to try to make sure that they don't continue to be a problem in the next iteration of whatever. This is a really interesting moment, I think.
No, my sister did that. My sister, I'm not going to name her name. I love my sister dearly. And this is like 20-some years ago, whatever. Like when she got a government job and moved out the projects where me and my mom, we were still at. Every time she come back, she'd be like, look at this dirty place. I think you were just here 5 weeks ago. You was up in, you know everybody up in here. He's like,
you was eating breakfast in this job.
I hate these pissy hall. I was like, but you know.
Who up in this pissy hallway? What are you talking about?
I mean, everybody hates the pissy hallway, but it's like, but you look at the ghetto or whatever. I was like, Billy, you just was, So it's a strong ideological pull for people. Just the propaganda system again around everybody's doing it on their own, or the bootstrap thing, or they finally get it. And she went through a lot. She got falsely arrested. She couldn't get the job that she wanted, and I'm glad she didn't get that job. But she didn't get the job that she wanted to get. She had to settle for another kind of city job. But still, and through all the stuff that she went through and was treated and so forth, as soon as it hit, there wasn't like some great grand drop of money or whatever like that. But as soon as that good government job hit, It was a nose up. I hate coming back to this place. And
Pinky up. Pinky up.
I was like, what the hell? I mean, you got to wherever you go. You got to here. You got to the suburbs. Where you think you are? But anyway, speaking of ghetto, no matter where they go, damn, let's bring up the ear doctor.
That is appropriate. Absolutely appropriate, accurate, and spot on.
This man is from Trenton. He's from the Trenton suburbs. Come to find out, Ear Doctor's not even from Trenton proper. You from the Trenton burbs, G. I didn't even realize Trenton had burbs. Trenton was the burbs.
I was born in Trenton.
And grew up.
Trenton is considered the suburbs. It's kind of scary to me.
Yeah, for real. Even right outside where I was at, White City, which is Hamilton. That's what they call it.
Oh,
yeah, nah. It wasn't white. It was just because the
No, I know what you know. I know where that is.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was the stairs. Stairs was white, so they called it White City.
I'm sure that's exactly why they called it White City.
All the cocaine that was being served out there.
That's the reason why. What's the name of that town in Texas? Outside of is it outside of Dallas or is it outside of Houston? Chat White Settlement, Texas. I said these niggas don't. No need to. Might as well call it Sundown Town, Texas. What the fuck?
And yo, another picture real quick before you come out. Here you go. This was when Poor Righteous Teachers came to visit the pizza place. R.I.P. to Father Shaheed, DJ. Yeah. Big up Culture Freedom, man. Wise Intelligence. So, you know.
Look at you, son. Oh, my God.
Tried to tell you. Tried to tell you.
Okay. Joint.
Keep making my pizza place a drug empire. I'm just saying, we made some good pizzas, man. Salads.
Somebody burnt it down because you was in their territory. You mean it wasn't a drug empire?
It's all good. Because listen, the script was written 2 years ago, and we're working on it now. So the movie will be.
It's gonna be a movie. Are you gonna tell the truth about where you stored the shit and everything?
Anyway, we're gonna take a break. This dude right here
storing the shit in the tip jar on the counter. I guess.
Was it just oregano? What else was it? What else?
I'm done with y'all, man.
Boy, I see you sitting out there all alone.
Oh my goodness.
Crying
your eyes out. Big up, everybody. This is the Remix Morning Show. Welcome out. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, and donate, share like you care to BLK Liberation Media.org. Yes, we are demonetized, and that is how we keep this train moving. All right, boom. So let me talk to you about another ancestor now. We got to give props to. He goes by the name of Jerry Butler. Let me tell you a little bit about Jerry Butler in my tune. Jerry Butler Jr., soul singer, songwriter, producer, musician, and politician. He was the lead singer for The Impressions. He got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1991. And he left his group in 1960. He achieved over 55 Billboard Pop R&B chart solo artists with his hit He Will Break Your Heart, Let It Be Me, and Only the Strong Survive. He was inducted to the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame in 2015. Now, guess what? He also was a commissioner for Cook County, Illinois, back in 1985 to 2018. Now, check this out, dig. He came from Mississippi and went to Cabrini Green's projects in Chicago. And he was in a choir, a church choir. Guess who was in this church choir with him? Curtis Mayfield. That's right. So he came up singing in the group with Curtis Mayfield. Next thing you know, he get with the Impressions, put out For Your Precious Love and a bunch of other dope songs. And then he goes with his solo career. He was called the Iceman. That's right. He was the man dropping jewels like Never Gonna Give You Up. That's right. Never Gonna Give You Up. A banger. But yo, after that, he did his music, did his politician stuff. And later on, he passed away from Parkinson's disease in Chicago, February 20th, 2025 at the age of 85. So he got to live a beautiful long life. Big up to this brother. Go check him out with the impressions and go check him out on his solo career. Jerry Butler, y'all. Let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. So tell him, never gonna give you up. Whisper in his ear, no matter how you treat me. You tell him what Jerry said. Yeah.
A catalog that I definitely need to investigate and dive into a little deeper there. Jerry Butler. I didn't know that he sang for the Impressions. I didn't know he was a Curtis Mayfield collaborator, amongst other things. So that I am intrigued.
Man, them church services was lit. I know that choir. Turn that joint out.
Oh
Curtis and Jerry, one of my mama's favorite. Woo, Jerry Butler.
Exactly. My mama loved Jerry Butler. Mm-hmm.
Jerry Butler. It was one word. Jerry Butler.
Mm-hmm. He don't love you like I love you. I was playing over and over again.
Oh wow!
Break my
Jerry
head
Butler
over and over in my
and
house.
Nancy Wilson every damn Saturday. Jesus.
He said he lived to be 85 here, doctor. That's real good. Okay,
right.
Jerry Butler, shout out. And then Sister Roberta got up to 88. I said, okay, come through boomers and silent generations. Yes.
Hip hop stars making it the 50s.
50, B. Yeah, we're going backwards. We're going
out.
Lord,
that is crazy. Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's a lifestyle. I don't know what that is.
I agree. There's a lot of hard living when you're young catching up to you. when you hit 35.
That's gotta be some hard living.
Oh, my guess it's gotta be the food. It's gotta be the difference. You know what I'm saying? Let me get on my ear doctor John here real quick because I'm sorry. Chair. Like we know because we know boomers, y'all. It's not like boomers was out here, resisting the vices. You know what I'm saying? Like the boomers can drink, snort, smoke. Everybody of every existing generation under the table right now in their 70s and 80s. Okay, but I mean, the late nights, the heavy drinking, the drugging, I'm sure Roberta and Jerry Butler did all of those things, right? And here they are living to be octogenarians, big octogenarians. But what did we have? We had late night processed,
bioengineered foods.
Yeah.
Longer we started.
So are the drugs different? Like somebody said the drugs are different. Do you think it's something? Because I mean, hip hop, like those cats live like some wild lives. I mean, I'm not saying that the folks didn't either, but like, what? In addition to the food, is the drugs different?
They smoke reefer. We smoke loud. That's the difference.
But line it up generationally, right? I think are the drugs different in 2025? Yes. In 1995,
no. Look, fentanyl is that. I'm sorry, that's a game changer. That was a game changer. Everybody I know. So I came up in the punk scene in DC. Unless you were straight edge, everybody was on something. Everybody. So, I mean, drugs was not new. And I'm not talking about we just run around smoking weed. No, this was at the height of the crack epidemic. And I was hanging out in Georgetown University, right there. All them rich kids and all their parents' money was getting the best cocaine for these little niggas. And they were very generous with it too. There were plenty of people who were doing heroin, who were working in the clubs, right? And like the rule in the scene was, we don't care what kind of habits you have. We ain't judging, but you don't rob anybody. You get a fucking job. And if you can't support your habit, then you need to deal with that habit. But that was just one of those weird kind of things. But everybody was on drugs. Everybody drank too damn much. Everybody partied 4 or 5 nights a week because we all worked at the damn clubs.
That's why I blame it on fast food. It's fast
food, microplastics.
It's not going to mama's house on Sundays to eat that home cooked meal. It's a lot of stuff we don't do no more.
But I also think the drugs are very different. Like there were Quaaludes back then, right? That Molly is a different thing.
Yeah, Molly's different.
There's ecstasy. There's and then there's what is the
shroom?
Then there's fentanyl, and now there's something else that's stronger than fentanyl. Look, the drugs are different. Yeah, the food is bad, and there are more chemicals and less regulations and less, adherence to any kind of cleanliness or health standards, yes, I think that's true. But I also think it's true that the recreational drugs, they're not so much recreational anymore as they are. I think they're way more dangerous.
Well, do y'all think the 50-year-old-ish rappers, I know no one's an expert on this, but do y'all think the 50-ish-year-old rappers not only like bad food, but continue to engage in activities that now, like they're doing the drugs that are like the more recent drugs, and is that leading to certain downfalls also? Like, it's not like they just stuck with the old stuff, like they experiment with the new stuff because they're still out there trying to make some money doing that party life or whatever.
Like Irv Gotti, I mean, he definitely, the opioids he got control, that took control of him when it comes to popping the mollies and stuff.
What was the reason that like 70s rockers and artists, I'm thinking of Natalie Cole, I'm thinking of one of the Allman Brothers, and like that kind of generation, they developed a form of hepatitis later as a result of the drugs that they did in the 70s?
Wasn't that heroin?
But I don't know what was giving them the hepatitis. Was it the heroin giving them the hepatitis?
I'm thinking the needle, like
it could have. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and again, it's kind of weird to kind of look at how people who have more money and more access to everything, why they don't live as long, because it's like that's just the situation they exist in is so far removed from what we it's just very strange. I don't know. It's very weird. I kind of analyzing the life expectancy of celebrities it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I keep looking at Keith Richards and them. And I'm like, how are these people still alive?
They're also doing other kind of drugs. I think now they're on drugs to keep them alive.
That's like people that drink after they have a hangover.
I mean, because what's his name? My man Mick Jagger is like, what is he? He's like in his 80s, and I haven't seen it, but people keep saying he's jumping around on concert like he's like a young person, and obviously he's always been skinny or whatever, and that might add to like longevity. But it feels like y'all are like, when you rich like that, like they definitely are sleeping in the tubes and having something measured at this point or whatever.
The cryo chamber.
Yeah, I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Well, we still got Stevie, and I know Stevie probably ain't do nothing but trees. So
Stevie is 75 years old.
Sir, we got the Isley brothers who are older than Stevie.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, we absolutely still have very, very elder folks that are still amongst us.
Statesman. Yes. All right. Well, that's what it is. All right. Let me get out of here. I got 2 minutes.
All right. I got some more stories. Y'all want me to go to mine? Or I got something.
No. Go ahead.
You said go ahead, Jackie. You got something or no?
No.
Okay. So on this we frequently speak about one billionaire and propaganda and how propaganda is used, but the second richest man in the world, who purchased the Washington Post a few years ago, came out with a statement, again, in his cuddling up to Trump or Trump allowing them, these billionaires to bring out their true selves more openly.
Editorial policy.
A new editorial policy for the New York Post. It said, I shared this note.
Washington Post, my nigga.
I'm so sorry. The Washington Post.
Same thing. They both rags.
They both rag. That is true. I'm writing to let you know about a change coming to our opinion pages. We are going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars. Personal liberties and free markets. We'll cover other topics too, of course, but viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others. There was a time when a newspaper, especially one that was a local monopoly, might have seen it as a service to bring to the readers' doorsteps every morning a broad-based opinion section that sought to cover all views. Today, the internet does that job. I am of America and for America, and proud to be so. Our country did not get here by being typical And a big part of America's success has been freedom in the economic realm and everywhere else. Freedom is ethical. It minimizes
What?
coercion and practical. It drives creativity, invention, prosperity. I offered David Shipley, whom I greatly admired, the opportunity to lead this new chapter. I think he said hell no to it. I suggested to him that if the answer wasn't hell yes, then it had to be a no. After careful consideration, David decided to step away. This is a significant shift, blah, blah, blah. So I'm confident that the free markets and personal liberties are right for America. I also believe these viewpoints are underserved in the current market of ideas and news opinions. I am excited for us all. I'm excited for us together to fill that void. Jeff. Signed, Jeff.
Why don't he just sell like just start a new paper? Like, you are asking these journalists, and again, I have lots of criticism for the Washington Post. You know, they have a lot of different angles and biases, and then outright beats that they simply omit, etc. But any so-called journalist worth their weight is not going to accept these terms because they're laughable. For Jeff Bezos to say we're only going to write about these two pillars, free personal liberty, whilst denying the journalists themselves to write in opposition of what Master Bezos has set forth for them. It just adds to the continuing hypocrisy of Trump and his billionaire, plutocrats, as they were. So I don't know about Bezos. I just wish, first of all, we're never going to see journalism as we thought it was in its most idealistic form. Like that's never coming back to the extent that it ever was there in the first place. But this corporatized, this billionaire owned media class where the billionaires get to dictate what gets said, what doesn't get said, even though I didn't care about the Washington Post wanting their opinion section, wanting to endorse Kamala Harris. I did think it was wrong for the owner to step in and say, y'all can't publish this because I said so. And this is just a further continuation of that. So we may see a mass exodus. I just wish he would kill the paper. Like, just kill it then. If you don't want if you're not interested in actual journalism and reporting and opinions and so-called diversity of thought, to the extent that it ever was at the Washington Post anyway, that is about to be scaled back even further. So just sell the paper or just kill it outright. Don't make the Washington Post go through this slow death.
I mean, I think the Post, Washington, and New York, and the New York Times, and the LA Times, and all of the major newspapers. I mean, like, I'm not sure how this is a shock or a surprise, because these people just refuse to report on a genocide. Like, literally refuse to use the word genocide in their reporting because they didn't talk about it as if it were a genocide. It was all, don't both sides. It was that they just did that. The Washington Post. So now, after they went along with covering up a genocide for 15 months, now they're mad that Bezos is going to come out and say, no, we're only doing really? Isn't that what y'all just did? So okay, I mean, all right, if it's great if there are a bunch of mass exit, if a bunch of people leave, but I don't know, kind of hypocritical to me.
To me, it's about like they're normalizing a certain extremism. I mean, so every major newspaper is going to be basically the Wall Street Journal then, like, because that's he's basically filling the same role that the Wall Street Journal already fills in terms of editorials. Mm-hmm. For the Wall Street Journal, also like their coverage is obviously slanted to the right. But I think he won't sell it because these are these billionaires are seizing propaganda arms, right? These are some of these institutions that, again, like you said, already filled a certain purpose. They already serve the purpose of pumping up America. They serve a certain purpose of being widely read, not only in this country, but other countries. And so giving the American, European point of view of how the world operates and how it should operate. But this is just further solidifying a larger move in sort of a right-wing bent, particularly when it comes to the opinion pieces. The claim is, of course, that this is not going to touch everyday coverage. But I mean, who does this person hire? Like, who are they going to be hiring? Who's going to be leaving their jobs, even if people leave? And even if the Washington Post may leave, I think they lost some subscribers, a significant amount, I think, when they refused to endorse Harris. But after that leaves, they'll just do things to build back up that subscriber base. So for them, it's about continuing to control, again, the propaganda arms. When we look at a place like Twitter, which again is obviously not traditional news, but now when you think back as to the real reasons why Musk bought Twitter, it wasn't just strictly out of ego. It was also to move that platform in a way that gives it a larger propaganda value for right-wing normalization and ideas. And he has successfully done that. He successfully has, and it hasn't fallen down as much as I remember when he bought it, every article in the New York Times was predicting the downfall of Twitter next week because of these extreme moves. But again, he has the money. Think about it. This person has enough money to sustain a $44 billion loss, to fire massive staff, to lose at the time, to lose advertising business in the droves, only to now, the last article I read is that Twitter might actually break even or make some money this time around because advertisers are coming back. He's reduced his staff and he successfully shifted the what is considered normal dialogue on Twitter to basically be a right-wing sort of echo chamber. So these folks are looking to continually shift and move these propaganda arms over to the rightward points of view and normalize extreme, what we would consider to be extreme points of view. On that note,
this is like the Rupert Murdoch model continuing in that.
Yep.
Another great show. Okay.
I just really quickly, let's rebuild alternatives both on different platforms, things like this. We got to get people to break out of the idea that those are the places they go for news. That's yeah. Go ahead, Doctor. I'm sorry.
But coming for some good news, and you want it every Tuesday through Friday, you come right here to the Remix Morning Show on Black Liberation Media. And when you want some other good news, you go to Burn It Down, Kim Brown. What you got coming down this week?
Not sure.
Okay. All right. I believe at 11 we'll be doing, are we doing Classical Breakdown at 11?
Why aren't we?
Exactly. Make sure y'all tune back in at 11 o'clock for Classical Breakdown. Jackie Lukeman, what you got coming up?
I'm going to try to have Dr. Orsamni Burton on Darker Than Blue tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can get him to get this interview recorded today or early tomorrow. But if not, I don't know what I'm talking about on Darker Than Blue. I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be. I might continue with no. I think it's time to drag Jimmy Carter. It might be time to drag Jimmy Carter. So yeah, that's it. And what is going on this weekend for BAP? I don't know. There's so much. I don't know.
Ricky, you're in the chat room. I'm sure she'll let everybody know. And CMB, what we got coming up? Let them know again.
The conference is coming up. We've solidified some of the folks who are going to be leading some of the panels and plenary sessions. Again, go to communitymovementbuilders.org for folks to register. It will be a great time. We really, really, really do want folks to come out. It's going to be in Indianapolis this year, and things are looking great. And I will say, in terms of alternative media platforms, I'm going to put in the chat Grassroots Thinking as a place where folks can find alternative views, ideas. We actually will pay writers $75 per article to write something for the outlet, and we're about to expand the outlet. We've reached new highs in terms of people listening. Not listening, people coming to Grassroots Thinking and reading the articles. Some of it is topical, some of it is based in research, some of it is poetry. And so we want people to expand. Grassrootsthinking.com. Please visit a lot of great articles there for folks to read, obviously, of the Black liberation persuasion.
You said $75 for writing?
Yeah, writing.
Right.
I want you to write. I want you to write.
Oh boy.
All right, say less. Look like your doctor just got a new job.
Oh no,
right,
he didn't. No. Oh, real quick. Sorry. Tomorrow, Friday night, Bat Baltimore, teach-in from enslavement to internal colonization at 709 North Howard Street. Tomorrow night, what, 7 o'clock, Ricky, I think. Tomorrow night in Baltimore, Bat Baltimore teach-in.
There it is. Make sure y'all tune in again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for some more of the Remix Morning Show. Y'all have a great one. Peace out.
You too, brother.
You know I'm proud to be black, y'all, and that's a fact, y'all. And if you try to take what's mine, I take it back, y'all. It's like that.
Did I hit the right
84 and 94. All them shits run together.
What you talking about? I ain't hear you.
I said, come out, I don't know the difference between 84 and 94. All that shit runs together.
What's good, Kim?
What's going? We ready?
Yeah, I gotta. My internet is acting straight today, so we should be good
Oh,
to go.
shit. Okay. Don't. All right. Good.
What?
What
was you
you
about
said
to
it's
say?
acting that was coming out either strange or shitty or okay, but straight.
Let's try to pull up a song right now since we're talking about it. Yeah, we good.
Oh, I hope you listen to some of these songs in time and got an idea, because you can't keep playing these songs at 0:00, sir, because we're gonna burn a whole minute on the intro. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe we need to figure that out in a minute because there's a lot for me to pull up, find the samples, and then go get them, find a spot on that, and now you want me to find the certain parts on the Ohio Players song.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. Why is there a reason you're actually not listening to the songs?
Yeah, I listen to it, but I'm also trying to find the samples. I'm listening to the songs, but I don't know what part you're gonna be like, this is the part. And then when I try to do that, you say pull up this part. I'm like scrambling to try to find the part you want me to pull up because you ain't put a timestamp.
So a consensus. Oh, well, I do have timestamps on a couple of them, but 0:00 is not where we start the records. You should at least be starting them joints when niggas start singing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because these songs be like 5 and 6 and 7 minutes long. If we start them at the beginning, you know what I mean? We're not going to get to the meat of the record. You know what I mean? Like, even if you could only play 10 and 20 seconds of a record, you know.
Why are you back?
Because you didn't end the stream.
Oh, we arguing and shit?